Well, the weekend has come to a close, but as always, we do not end things here. As you probably can guess, we're getting closer and closer to the finale of the New Japan Cup. However, this particular day features, of course, the semifinal. Who will walk out to go to the finals? Will it be, of course, former IWGP World Heavyweight Champion and previous, of course, New Japan Cup winner Zack Sabre Jr., or the Savage David Finlay? And then, of course, we move on with Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling's much recent event, Grand Princess, featuring many matches, but, however, it does feature special matches such as Yuki Arai taking on the final boss, Meiko Satomura. Willow Nightingale makes her return after 2.5 years to take on Miyu Watanabe, but we also got the setup All Asian Women's Championship on the line. Pam Harajuku defends her belt against Raku. We do have the International Princess Championship defended as well, so is the Princess Tag Team belts and the Princess of Princess Championship as well. And then, of course, we cap up our episode as always with some news updates to give you guys updates on what's been happening in the world of pro wrestling, such as what events the promotions are thrown out, who's booked, what matches are set, including developments that are happening in the world of pro wrestling as we speak. So, let's get ready for another episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everybody, welcome to Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel where we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK, anywhere in the world pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also, of course, do more news updates. If certain information was unable to be on this episode, we can either put it on the next one or on a separate video by itself. We also, of course, do real-timing news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We also, of course, got the Unagi Sayaka Watch and various other cool wrestling content as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us or click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, all introductions have been said. So let's hit the light speed and start with our very first review, and this one is from New Japan Pro Wrestling. Okay, we are now continuing with day 7 of the New Japan Cup. As you probably know, we are getting closer and closer to the finale. However, this particular day only features the semifinals. So who will walk out as the winners? Will it be none other than, of course, Zack Sabre Jr., who is the former IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, or will it be, of course, David Finlay, who is now determined to reach the top, despite the fact now he's dealing with the tensions with the House of Torture. We'll just see about that. But however, let's begin with our first match. Our first match features Katsuya Murashima teaming up with the Stone Pitbull Tomohiro Ishii to take on TMDK's Hartley Jackson and Rohei Oiwa. Now, it doesn't take a genius how this match was going to end, because once I mention Murashima, you know he's still a young lion. He's still on the learning curve. Most likely, he could end up losing in this match, which is possibly obvious, and that's exactly what happened because it was Hartley Jackson who picked up the win when he applied the Death Valley driver, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Next up, we have Yuji Nagata and Satoshi Kojima teaming up to take on Daiki Nagai and Hiroshi Tanahashi. Now, it doesn't take either also the same result what we saw in the previous match. As you know, Daiki Nagai is still a young lion, still on the learning curve, but however, he had to learn the hard way when he had to deal with Kojima until he ended up on the wrong side of a lariat. So, you probably can guess how that match ended right there, too. Our next match, we have just four guys, Taka Michinoku and Yuya Uemura taking on Chaos members Toru Yano and Yoshihashi. So you probably can guess how this was going to go in one way. I mean, we know that Yuya Uemura is still dealing with the fact that he lost in the New Japan Cup, couldn't advance. But however, it was Yoshihashi who picked up the win when he applied the butterfly effect onto Taka Michinoku, and Taka had no choice but to tap out. Next up, we have the United Empire, TJP, Jacob Austin Young, and Great Khan taking on Bolton Oleg, uh, Yado, and El Phantasmo. Now, it's no secret now that most likely we will probably see El Phantasmo taking on TJP for the New Japan World Television title, which is obvious. So, probably you can see how this is coming in somewhat of a preliminary match once it's official. However, this match ended with Bolton Oleg applying the kamikaze on on to Jacob Austin Young, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Next up, we got the other members of the United Empire, consisting of Cal Newman and Jeff Cobb, taking on LIJ's Bushi and Naito. Now, of course, Newman, as you probably can guess, would love nothing more to get his hands on Naito to once again to put him down on the ground. But however, he didn't get that chance, but he was able to apply a knee strike onto Bushi, and just like that, 1, 2, 3 is over. However, it appears that Cal Newman is now calling his shot. He is calling out Naito, telling him that he's coming for him and the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team titles. So basically, now it seems that Naito and Hiromu we may have the first opponent. So we'll see when that day is until it's official. But the real question is, we ask ourselves, will Jeff Cobb be Newman's tag team partner? Most likely that could happen, but we will see. Now, our next match, you probably can know as always, we've been seeing the tensions between both House of Torture and the War Dogs. Remember this. This is all started because Evil is now living in a delusional state, believing that the War Dogs are expelled from Bullet Club. But however, many fans don't believe that Evil has any right to say that. So you probably can guess. Representing, of course, the House of Torture, we have Kanemaru, Sho, Yujiro, Ren Narita, Evil, along with Dick himself. For the War Dogs, we have Chase Owens, Balak Fale, Jilla Maloney, Sonata, and Gabe Kidd. So you probably can guess how this is going to go. I mean, we know Gabe Kidd has his issues now with Ren Narita, because of their past history, all this and that. And of course, the usual shenanigans when it comes to the House of Torture. Or should I say the House of Losers, because as David Finlay says, you have to bring results, and so far these idiots haven't done that. But as always, F and Dick decided to get involved on multiple occasions. In one occasion, he brought a white powder or ectoplasma onto Chase Owens and tossed it and gave Evil the chance, of course, to do the everything is evil, and just like that, it was over. So basically, it's really messed up. So I'm sure the War Dogs will get their hands on them. Now, this next match is somewhat of a preliminary match for the semifinals of the New Japan Cup. We have Tomoaki Hamna and Shota Umino taking on LIJ's Yota Tsuji and Shingo Takagi. Remember, in the semifinals, uh, Umino and Takagi will be facing off. So the real question is who's built up momentum. However, in this match, it ended with, of course, the Gene Blaster by Tsuji onto Hamna, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Now for our semifinal of the New Japan Cup, our main event, we have Zack Sabre Jr. versus David Finlay. Now remember, Zack Sabre Jr. has won the New Japan Cup before, and that was like back in 2021 or 2022, one of the two. somewhere around there. But yes, but he was unsuccessful to win the title back in the day. But David Finlay, as you know, ever since he lost the IWGP Global title, he is determined to reach the top no matter what. So you would think that Zack Sabre Jr.'s technical expertise will try to help him out to win it. However, it could have won either way, but it was David Finlay who won with the overkill, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, and he made it clear that this was his time now. Now, I want to put out a note here about me, about this whole thing with David Finlay being in the finals. A part of me doesn't want to say I'm jinxing it, but a part of me thinks something could go wrong with David Finlay's moment. I wouldn't be surprised if by any solitary second, I think some of you may agree with me, I wouldn't be surprised if that scumbag Evil decides to, of course, get involved in the match between Finlay and whoever walks out between Shingo or Shota in that match. Whoever walks out faces him. I'm sure the House of Torture will try to ensure that he probably will not win it, because we saw they did that recently with Gabe Kidd. Wouldn't and I'm sure this is one of those moments where Evil knows where it's going to hit David Finlay the most. That is something we have to consider. Now, if I was David Finlay, I would not overlook Evil and the House of Torture, because they would do to make sure you don't get what you want until they get what they want, which is, of course, to say you guys are out of the Bullet Club, plain and simple. David Finlay's not going to confess to that, regardless of what Evil and the rest of those losers think. But we will see what happens. But we do know we do have another New Japan show coming up, so we'll see what happens. But as of right now, we are done with New Japan and move on with Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling. Okay, Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling, Grand Princess. This is one of their bigger shows of the year for everybody who doesn't know. As usual, we have Sayuri Namba doing the opening, of course, greeting the fans and giving the info of the matches and all this and that. However, we did jump in to see the Up girls do their usual performance. Now, with that out of the way, let's talk about the matches themselves, which I'm sure everybody are here to see. Our first match, we have tag team action. We have Shino Suzuki teaming up with Imawari. They take on Mifu Ashida and Yoshiko Hasegawa. Now, truth to be told, I wasn't too sure how this was gonna roll up one way or the other. I mean, these ladies are interesting to watch, but however, this match ended with Hasegawa applying a, what was it, like a Meteora onto Suzuki, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it's over. Our next match, we have an 8-woman tag team match. We have Ura Takami, Kira Summer, Chika Nanaze, and Toribami. They take on Ivy Steele, Haruna Neko, Mahiro Kiru, and Kakeru Kurigaki. Sekiguchi. My bad. My writing's a little messed up on my notes here. Anyway, as always, I wasn't too sure how this was going to go around, because I do see some factors here. I mean, I see some of the leaser experienced girls with Takumi, Summers, and Nanaze. Torabami has a bit more experience than all of them, so that I feel like in their general processes they could have been the ones to lose, because the only leaser experience on the opposing team is Ivy Steels. But it was, of course, um, Kurigani with a spine buster on Nanaze, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Next up, we have Moka Miyamoto. Well, she takes on the monster, Max the Impaler. Now, of course, some of you probably would say, Max is gonna kill you. Max is gonna kill you. Well, most likely that's the idea of what was gonna happen. I mean, if you saw what she did, she just just like, wow, dang. Um, but however, it was a short, late range lariat by Max that allowed her to pick up the win. 1, 2, 3. Adios. Next up, we have Toga, Haru Kazushiro, and Yuki Aino taking on Wakana Uhara, Yuki Kamifuku, and of course, the legend, Aja Kong, or as of course what JR said in the first Double or Nothing, she's the type of woman you don't see making biscuits. So yes, you probably can guess how this was gonna roll up. I mean, if you're Aja Kong, you know that if you're gonna be right in front of Aja Kong, it's impossible to go through her. But what's interesting, it was Wakana who actually picked up the win by applying the banana pillow onto Haru, and just like that, Haru had no choice but the tap. Now, our next match is a championship match. Now, this is not a title originally part of the Tokyo Pro Wrestling promotion. It's from their friends from Thailand, of course, set up Thailand Pro Wrestling. As you know, Pamada is the setup All Asian Women's Championship, where she won this belt from Matcha. But however, Matcha was unsuccessful to reclaim the belt, so Pam Harajuku actually retained it. However, her close friend Raku issued the challenge. So the real question is, can Pam Harajuku actually pick up the win? I mean, we know her usual ways, how she's going to roll up. But however, it was Raku, surprisingly, who picked up the win when she applied Dr. Yellow. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, over. Now, our next match, we have a very interesting one. Miu Watanabe taking on, of course, the bright and bubbly and someone who doesn't take crap from anybody, Willow Nightingale. Yep, that's right, folks. The same Willow Nightingale from AEW. It's been nearly 2.5 years since she was in Tokyo Pro Wrestling, but it's great that she was in there. But however, I asked myself the question, I think many of you probably would ask, can Miu Watanabe apply the giant swing? The answer to that is hell yes. I mean, she's always up for a challenge. I mean, it's a bummer she couldn't do it with Aja Kong, but she was able to do it. But however, Miu Watanabe ended up losing when Willow applied the Dr. Bomb, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, adios. So yeah, and of course, during in the next account, Miu said that she will love the fighter again. I wouldn't be surprised if she decides to come down to the U.S. and do it herself, which will be a lot of fun. Next up, we have a very interesting special match: Yuki Arai taking on the final boss, Meiko Satomura. Now, of course, this is one of those matches where Yuki Arai, this is not the first time that she dealt with her. But however, can she overcome it and defeat the final boss? That's a question that always lingers in the back of the minds of people. However, you know Meiko Satomura, she is tough as nails. She refuses to stay down no matter what. And there was a moment where Yuki Arai applied the finale, but somehow Meiko Nakamura was able, Satomura was able to block it, which is amazing. Until, of course, she applied the Death Valley driver, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it's over. Yuki Arai will never get another opportunity like this ever again. So, we move on. Now, our next match is another championship match. This is for the International Princess Championship. And this is a very interesting showdown between Arisu Endo and Zuzumi. Now, those who know this, both these ladies are former tag team champions. They're also known as Daisy Monkey. Now, ever since they lost the tag belts, Zuzumi made a play for the International Princess Championship and won it. However, Arisu Endo decided that it was time for her to step up her game now that she sees how Zuzumi is doing as a singles competitor. However, the real question is how this was going to turn out. I mean, I have to say I have witnessed these two ladies grown up a lot. I mean, not in the ring, but mostly like their wrestling craft on what they can do. But it's it was like the suspense was killing me about this one. But unfortunately, this match ended with Zuzumi when she applied a springboard cutter, or as they call it, springboard ring the bell. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, Zuzumi retained the belt, and it was over. Just like that. Now, our next match, we have the Princess Tag Team titles. Hyper Misawa and Shoko Nakajima taking on Maki Ito and Miyu Yamashita. Now, those who know this, Hyper Misawa and Shoko Nakajima won the Max Heart tournament, which is the tag team tournament. And this was one of those moments where, of course, they have to obtain these belts at any way possible. I was so invested in this one because one of the best moments of my life watching this. I never seen her take off her mask, but there's been reports that she has been mentions that she's done it before. Hyper Misawa took off her mask. I think I know some of you probably say, "What?" Yep, she did. It's when the match intensified. It's like whatever was holding her back, she went for it. I mean, that is something you don't see many often. But the real question is, will that be enough to stop, of course, Yamashita, who we all know is one of the toughest women in the promotion? And unfortunately, it did. It ended with, of course, Masao pinning Yamashita. 1, 2, 3. Finally, Hyper Masawa and Shoko Nakajima are tag team champions. So I have to say, Maki Ito and Miyu Yamashita had a great run, but it's time to see what Masao and Nakajima do. So we'll see. As for our main event, we have the Princess of Princess Championship. Rika Tatsumi taking on Mizuki. Now, this match was a very interesting one. Those who know this, Rika Tatsumi has been the Princess of Princess champion once before, but eventually she lost that belt a couple years ago, and now she wants to reclaim it back. And she actually won a tournament that suggested for her to challenge it. And Mizuki, as you know, recently she reclaimed this belt from Miyu Watanabe, and that's exactly what happened. So basically, it's a very interesting dilemma. But you know Rika Tatsumi, she is tough as nails. Mizuki, she is tough as two. And whatever scenario was going to play out, it was going to go either way. But it was Mizuki who walked away with the win when she applied the crossface. And just like that, Rika had no choice but to tap, knowing it was too much. And just like that, Mizuki retained the belt. But the real question is we ask ourselves, who's the next competitor? So, as you probably guessed, we have two title exchanges. One for the All Setup Championship, and of course, one with the Princess Tag Team belt. So, the real question that we ask ourselves, who will be Suzumi's next opponent? That's a good question. And who will be Mizuki's next opponent? That's also another good question. But we will see in the months to follow. But as of right now, we are officially done with Tokyo Show Pro Wrestling. And now it's time to move on, of course, with some news updates. Okay, so welcome to our news updates. Now, I forgot to mention there is no developments in our section of news updates, so we're just going to focus on upcoming events for all of you. So let's get that out of the way. Now, majority of these announcements, as you know, we're getting closer to, of course, maybe a month or so to the upcoming WrestleMania week, involving certain events taking place. First up, as you know, Dragon Gate will be in the US the first time in almost over a decade they've been here. So, as you know, they'll have two shows on the 16th and 18th of April. However, it was announced that on April 16th, they just announced two names, and however, they announced that Stardom's very own a Starlight Kid and Azumi will be participating on that. So, any of you guys who are planning to go to WrestleMania weekend and check out these events, mark it on your calendar. Now, as you know, we have the annual Mark Hitchcock Memorial Supershow on the 17th of April. They just announced this, and it's not a joke, guys. We have Hardcore Country. That's right. Mickey James taking on the cutest in the world, Maki Ito. So, yep, this is not a joke, folks. So, if you guys are going to WrestleMania and you guys want to check this out, mark it in your calendars as well. Now, more names have been added for the upcoming Lady Luck for Spark Joshi Puroresu of America. Azumi, as you know, will be also participating. So we got more Stardom names added to this. Now, another name has been added for the upcoming Marvelous show, of course, in Las Vegas on the 17th. And we got Sadie Gibbs. So, yes. So, it appears now another name has been added. So, it's good to hear that. Now, stepping away from that, we have two other events that have been named for later on in the month of April. The first one is, of course, RevPro with high stakes. The undisputed British Women's Championship will be defended. Mercedes Monet, the CEO, defends her championship against Kenji. So that's going to be interesting. And then finally, House of Glory will return back to New York for their upcoming event on the 25th of April called Isolation. Now, no mention who will be participating, but we'll stay close to that as much as possible. So I think that's pretty much it what we have for our news updates. So let's just call it a day. Okay, so I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, we continue with more of New Japan. As you know, we have the another semifinal event with, of course, the New Japan Cup. Shingo Takagi versus Shota Umino. So the real question is, who will be joining David Finlay in the finals? So that's going to be the top question. Now, I haven't decided yet what other events I want to review. I am considering probably watching Surrealism Chapter 7. I'm a bit behind on that one. So we'll see how that one rolls up. But as of right now, that's the New Japan is a priority, but we'll get to that at some point. So we'll leave things as it is and we move forward. So until then, I will see you guys in the next DWZ time, same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So goodbye and have a nice day. Bang.